Yo, what's up? Ricky Sanders here. If you live for fast cars, greasy hands, and solving problems under the hood, welcome to your new favourite spot. I'm all about real fixes, no BS, and showing you how to keep your ride running like a champ. So go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's make some noise in the garage. Enough talk, let's get wrenching.
The car brand Ford Focus is a typical representative of cars of small size, designed for leisurely measured driving on city streets. This very popular vehicle is assigned Class C. It is based on the C1 platform from Ford Corporation, which also serves as a basis for quite common models, such as Mazda 3 or Volvo S40. Power units, driving the cars of Ford Focus series, are characterized by a huge variety, both by the type of fuel used and by their performance. The engine, the power of which is comparable to the tractive force of 125 full horses with a cylinder capacity of 1.8 liters, is the heart of the cars of the second generation of the Ford lineup. A thorough knowledge of information about its technical characteristics will allow timely detection of abnormalities in operation. Also, a prudent owner must necessarily know the obvious signs of the most common faults and ways of their possible elimination with their own hands. Engine Ford Focus 2 1.8 125 horsepower. Description of the device, performance indicators, errors in the work and the possibility of their independent elimination. The second generation of Ford cars was put into production in 2004 and continued to be produced until 2011. Throughout the entire period, the cars manufactured at the concern's enterprises were equipped with both gasoline power units and motors operating on diesel fuel. In addition, the engines for Ford had a different design, which affected their performance qualities. This article is devoted to one particular model of gasoline power units that drive cars of the famous brand. Here we propose to consider a description of the design features of the engine included in the equipment of cars of the Ford Focus 2 generation series with a cylinder capacity of 1.8 liters, capable of developing a power of 125 horsepower, and the diesel will require a separate study. Features of the device as a material for the cylinder block: manufacturers provide an extremely light and strong enough aluminum alloy. The open deck casting method is used for its production. In the upper part of the block, the wet type liners are freely placed. Fuel in the considered engine 1.8 is supplied with the help of phased distributed injection. The power unit, represented by a single block, combining the engine with the gearbox and clutch, is transversely located in the engine compartment. For its fixation there are 3 rubber metal supports with high elasticity. The place of attachment of the first of them is a special bracket located in the right side of the cylinder block. The second and third are connected to the gearbox crankcase. The crankshaft is particularly robust due to the high-strength cast iron used in its manufacture. It has 5 main journals and 4 connecting rod journals. 8 counterweights are an extension of the crankshaft cheeks. Their main purpose is considered to balance the forces and moments of inertia that accompany the movement of the crank mechanism during operation of the power unit. Root and connecting rod bearings are equipped with liners, represented in the form of steel thin-walled products. For them, manufacturers provide a special anti-friction coating. Duratec 1.8 125 horsepower is characterized by increased reliability and unpretentiousness, which is ensured by the use of a chain-type timing drive. Responsibility for efficient fuel supply is entrusted to the electronic system. Ford Focus 2 engine with a volume of 1.8 liters is characterized by the absence of hydraulic compensators in the valve mechanism. This forces the owner to periodically manually adjust the size of the thermal gap. Adjustment of the required size is carried out by eye, by selecting special adjusting washers of the appropriate thickness. Performance data: Ford Focus 2 Duratec engine with a volume of 1.8 has the following operational qualities: atmospheric engine. With injected fuel supply and inline arrangement of cylinders, a serviceable power unit holds 1,793 m3 of air-fuel mixture. 4. Functioning cylinders are equipped with 16 valves, 2 inlet, and a pair of exhaust valves each. The piston has a stroke of 83.1 mm. The cross-section of each cylinder is 83 mm. When the crankshaft reaches a speed of 6,000 rpm, the power of the engine can develop up to 125 horsepower. The environmental safety of the unit is in accordance with -4 Euro standards for long-term trouble-free operation of the motor. It is recommended to use gasoline with octane number not lower than 95. Declared by the manufacturer. Engine life is 350,000 km, although in reality cars with such power units successfully overcame the distance of more than 500,000 km. Recommended engine oil 5W20 and 5W30. Value of fuel consumption varies from 5.6 liters when driving on the open highway to 9.5 liters when driving on crowded city streets. Under normal operating conditions, the power unit consumes about 0.5 liters of lubricant per 1 kilometer. Of course, these figures are typical only for a properly functioning motor. Any deviations indicate irregularities in engine operation. If the car eats an unreasonably large amount of oil, it is necessary to urgently check the lubrication system. Characteristic faults and recommendations for their elimination. Unfortunately, scientists around the world are still unsuccessfully struggling with the problem of creating an eternal engine. And any modern motors, even the most reliable, eventually fail. There are failures in their work, the untimely elimination of which is fraught with very dire consequences. One of the most unpleasant situations is an unplanned engine overhaul. Among the characteristic malfunctions accompanying the operation of the Ford Focus 2 powertrain, the most common are its excessive heating and tripping. There may also be an unreasonable increase in engine oil consumption. Some of the above-mentioned malfunctions require separate consideration. Causes and remedies for engine Trojan. Often on the dashboard of the Duratec 1.8 125 horsepower, an error warning is displayed, caused by instability of the power unit. Experienced mechanics have established the causes of the unpleasant situation with the motor's tethering, and also determined the simplest ways to get rid of the problem. Excessive fuel, caused by a too rich mixture, has a negative effect on the stable operation of the system. Here it is important to control the correct setting of the timing marks, as an error causes a false impression of engine runaway. Although the plugs are functioning normally and the fuel has a quite acceptable composition for use, a prerequisite for stable operation of the engine is to maintain the optimal gap separating the crankshaft and the timing plate. Deviations from the normal distance negatively affect the operation of the ignition system. It is established that engine tethering is most often caused by the failure of the cylinders to function normally. In most cases, the cause of such a failure in operation is determined by experience, by trial and error. Excessive consumption of lubricant when the power unit starts to eat excessive amounts of engine oil when the vehicle is in operation. The cause may lie in leakage through the seals. This can be corrected by renewing the gaskets and oil seals. It is also necessary to tighten the fixing elements more firmly. Reduce unreasonable consumption of lubricant is able to clean the clogged crankcase ventilation system by thoroughly washing the parts. The motor eats oil in large quantities when the cylinders and piston rings are worn out. Breakage of the latter leads to the same result. To solve the problem, in addition to boring the cylinders, the bad parts are replaced with new ones. The use of unsuitable oil causes the oil rings to become clogged. This malfunction is eliminated by removing carbon deposits from the surface of the parts. In addition, the unsuitable lubricant must be replaced with a substance that complies with the manufacturer's recommendations. Conclusion: despite the multiple errors in operation, the Duratec 1.8 125 horsepower power unit enjoys increased demand from domestic motorists. They appreciated the craftsmanship of the manufacturers of the Zavolsky plant, from where the engine comes to the Russian market. A special attraction is the unlimited resource of the motor. In this, domestic manufacturers are not inferior to their Japanese colleagues who produce original products. Ford Focus 2 engine. Ford Focus 2 1.8 125 horsepower. Ford Focus 2. Ford Focus 2 engine 1.8 125 horsepower. In conclusion, the Ford Focus 2 with the 1.8-litre, 125 horsepower engine offers a balanced blend of performance and efficiency. With its robust specifications, including a smooth power delivery and commendable fuel economy, this model stands out as a reliable choice for both daily commuting and spirited driving. Whether you're drawn to its responsive handling or its practical features, the Ford Focus 2 remains a solid option in the compact car segment. Thank you for watching, and be sure to explore more about this impressive vehicle.